Welcome back to A Story to Tell from the campus of Dixie State University. This is Lane Rano. We're glad you're back with us. Shaun, how you doing?
I'm doing well. It's good to be with you.
We're talking to Shaun McCausland, who's a candidate for the 2nd District congressional race.
That's correct.
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I grew up in small towns mostly.
Where was that?
A lot of it was in Pleasant Grove. We moved around quite a bit when I was very young. But my teenage years were in Pleasant Grove, and I enjoyed that. Of course, that town then was a pretty small town, and now it's 70,000 people or something.
Yowzer.
So it's grown a lot.
70,000 people?
That's what I understand. Maybe they're taking in Linden and Manila with that. I don't know, but
probably lying about it.
Could be.
To get federal funds.
But I did enjoy my years there, and then I went to BYU, graduated with a degree in music education, taught in Monroe, Utah for a few years.
How big is it now?
Very small town, but near Richfield. And that was a great experience. I loved teaching. Didn't stick with it real long because I didn't get along with some of the public school system ways of doing things. But I loved education. I'm still involved in education today. Went into business. I've been doing computers for about 30 years now.
What did you teach?
I taught music.
At what level?
Basically 5th grade through 12th.
How long were you in the teaching business?
About 5 years.
5 years was enough, huh?
Well, actually, I keep putting my hand back in it.
Well, I mean with the educational system.
Yeah, with the system, that was about enough. I've been teaching off and on with what's called a Commonwealth school here in Washington County. It's a school for homeschoolers. And my job there was to teach them constitutional principles, statesmanship, those kinds of things. And that was a great experience. I probably will be doing it again. My wife was just made chairman of that school for next year. And so she's very involved, and I help out whenever I can.
Well, that's nice of you.
I try hard.
You said you were in computers for 30 years. Were there computers 30 years ago?
There were. When I started out, there were, well, the IBM PC was just coming on the scene. TRS-80, I doubt most people even know what that was. The VIC-20 from Commodore, Atari 400. Those were the computers back then, and then I gradually worked through those, and most of my work is with the PCs now over the last 20 years. But I work with the Macs and that type of stuff as well. And it's an enjoyable business for me, but my first love is still music, and so I still perform. I've been in bands for a lot of years. I figured out 47 years I've been playing in bands. And then the last 10 years, off and on, I've been working with Rhett Thomas up at the Bumbleberry Theater in Springdale, where we put on Branson-style shows, and they're really fun, family-friendly. We've had all kinds of people come out to those shows, and we're just gearing up for another one starting later this month, so we're excited about that.
What is a bumbleberry?
A bumbleberry is a fake berry that doesn't really exist, but it's a combination of 3 berries, I believe, that they use in their bumbleberry pie. I really enjoy bumbleberry pie, but I always have to have a little vanilla ice cream with it, because it's pretty rich.
That's cheating.
That's right, but I love it. It's good stuff.
2 of my nephews went over to Zion Canyon with a friend of theirs, and when they came back, they came to our house for dinner, and they brought a bumbleberry pie with them.
Excellent. So you've had some?
Yes, in the last month.
Wow.
I keep up to date on all these important things.
That's good. That's good stuff.
Tell me about your family.
Well, I grew up in a fairly large family. My parents split up when I was 11, but I've had a good relationship with both of them, and they've have extended families on both sides. I was the oldest of a bunch of kids, and then when I met my wife, we decided to get married. She told me she wanted to have 12 kids.
How did you meet your wife?
She was in the music program at BYU as well.
So the BYU?
Yeah.
That's why they call it BYU?
I believe so, yes. She's actually a much better musician than I am. She's a composer and arranger.
Does she sing?
She sings very well, but she's not a loud singer like I am. I'm more of a rock and roll singer. So, and we ended up with 9 kids.
Only 9, huh?
Yeah. Well, after 2, she said maybe I just want 10, and it worked out that we had 9. But it's
Boys or girls
been
or
a good
both?
run. A good mix of both, 5 and 4. And they're great kids. We've had good experiences. Still got 3 at home. One just came back from an LDS mission. Another one's leaving later
Where did
this
he
year.
go?
He was in South Korea.
Well, that's interesting.
So yeah, had a great experience there, and he's with us right now. But he's coming to Dixie State. In fact, I think he starts school in about 3 or 4 weeks.
Going to summer school.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good.
So we're excited about that, and you know, they're all very different from each other, but they're wonderful people. I enjoy being around them.
What do the others do?
Ah, boy, let's see. My daughter is doing some public speaking, my oldest daughter. She's in Texas, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Her husband is in accounting and related fields down there, doing some things. And they've got a big family. They've got 6 kids. I have
You guys need to figure out what causes it.
I heard what caused it, but I didn't want to give it up.
Okay,
So,
that's
but
all right.
Anyway,
Just so you know.
yeah. But, well, the others, I've got a massage therapist. I've got someone that's training to be a cosmetologist. I've got a computer programmer. Have one son that passed away in a car accident about 5 years ago, and we miss him. But he was a great performer and entertainer. He worked in the shows with me up at the Bumbleberry. Just a great kid. Got a couple that are still in high school. One of them is quite a performer, and our youngest girl has just made the cheer squad. So she's excited about that and learning a lot of new things and doing some fun things with that.
They tell me they're trying to decide whether cheerleading is a sport or not. Do you think it's a sport?
Looking at how hard she works to be able to do the things they do, I would say you probably could call it a sport.
You're running for Congress. Tell me about that.
Well, I believe that we're in trouble.
You only believe?
Yeah.
You're not
I'm pretty sure. As a country, there's a lot of good things still about America. We still have a lot of freedoms, but we're losing them. And we are in debt beyond any way of even understanding how far we are in debt. There's no way we're even paying the interest at this point. When a family's in that situation, they declare bankruptcy, or they live on beans and rice for a few years. And I've been there. I lived on the beans and rice. That was my choice. But as a country, the people we owe are our citizens. A lot of that debt is entitlements such as Social Security and Medicare. We can't just say, I'm sorry, you don't get it. You know, we're just going to quit paying you because these people have put into those funds all their lives.
I was just going to say there are people that would contradict you and say that Social Security is not an entitlement that they put into it.
Well, and I agree with that. That's why, you know, the government puts it down as it is an entitlement. I believe it's a commitment. And I'm not in favor of the Social Security or Medicare programs, but I am in favor of keeping your commitments, and we have a commitment there that we have to work through.
What would you do in lieu of Social Security?
I believe that private savings accounts are a lot better way to go, and I know some people don't do it.
So you would switch what we give the FICA and so forth from that into private savings accounts rather than give it to the government.
More efficient and more security for the future, because there's a lot of people my age that wonder if we'll ever be able to protect, collect what we put back in.
Well, I'm collecting your share now.
That's right. That's right. The people that are retired and receiving Social Security, what we pay in now is going to them. There's not really anything being saved for our future, and that's why it's a very nervous thing for us in the 50 to 70 age range. We're wondering if there'll be anything there for us in a few years.
Well, you know, Social Security originally was set up to be self-funding.
It was.
And then the Congress voted it to go into the general fund, and they thought the people coming on later paying would pay for it, and that hasn't worked out.
It worked for a while. When the baby boomers got into the workforce, then we had a large group of workers and a small group of retirees, because most people didn't live past 70 or 75. Now we have those same baby boomers, which is I'm one of them, coming into our retirement age. And there's a lot of us, and there's not as many people in the workforce. So that equation has shifted now, and that's what's very scary, is that the money coming in is dropping while the need for that money is rising. And we're going to have to make some hard decisions about that if we want to save those. My proposal, one of the things in my campaign, is that I believe we need to gradually raise the age of first entitlement on that, or first reception of benefits. And I know that'll affect me if we do that.
Raise it to what?
I would like to see us gradually, over a period of about 15 years, move that up to about 70, 71, maybe 72. Our people are living to be average now in their 80s. If you're alive at 60, they expect you to live to be 85 or 90 now. And we simply are not going to be able to fund that. But I'm not saying we just make a sudden change, because people have planned for retirement and for their life cycle to change at about 65. I think we need to gradually...
Well, you can actually start drawing Social Security at age 60, I think. Or
62, I think 62. It is,
62.
yeah. That's right,
It's
but
a
you don't get
reduced
full
amount,
benefits
right.
if you do that, and if you want full benefits, you do it at 65. Well, I'm 60. I feel like I'm still pretty young. I feel like I've got a lot of years ahead of me. I probably will work until I'm at least 70. I would guess, maybe longer. I think I'm good at what I do. I still can play piano and sing a little, and people seem to enjoy that part of my employment as well. So yeah, I'm going to stay busy. I don't expect the government to take care of me at 65. There are people that have health problems and things, and they need that care at that age, and I understand that. But that's what the Medicare and supplemental income things that we have set up, the safety nets, are for. But for the general person that is able to work and that type of thing, I think we could gradually increase that, but not suddenly. It needs to take a period of years to do that. But it will save us a lot of money and help us to extend the life of Social Security and Medicare if we do that.
Should rich people be allowed to draw on Social Security?
That's something that I think we need to debate as a society. On one hand, they don't need it, but on the other hand, they have paid into it just like everybody else. In fact, they've probably paid more into it than most people.
Well, haven't you heard the scripture, charity covereth a multitude of sins? So if that could be charity for them, cover their sins.
I think that that's fine, and I think that a lot of people that are very well off could choose to opt out, but I don't think that we can mandate that, because we're again breaking a commitment that we've made.
Commitments are important.
Yeah, and to me, they're one of the bottom line things.
You're not a Republican.
No.
You're not a Democrat.
No. I was a Republican for many, many years.
Why did you opt out?
There's a long story and a short story. I'll give you the short one. I was very active in the Republican Party. I was a state delegate, precinct chairman, all those kinds of things for many years. Worked with a lot of the leadership of the party. I campaigned for some of the people that were running. But I asked to present a resolution. I did present a number of resolutions over the years and bylaw changes and things. But I sent in one year, the year that all of it came to a head. And all I was asking that, I believe, at least at that point, and I think it's still fairly true, that I agreed with the Republican platform. But I saw a lot of our elected officials that were not standing up for the principles in that platform.
Give me an example of that.
Well, for example, we said as a party that we believed that we should have a balanced budget, that we should cut spending and not raise taxes. But the people that we were sending to Washington kept raising taxes and kept raising the debt limit and put us in the situation we're in now. And it wasn't just the Democrats doing that. We have seen an increase in our spending under every Republican administration except the first term of Ronald Reagan's. The second term, we saw an increase in spending again. Other than that, we just keep doing it, and Congress keeps doing it. The president doesn't spend the money. Congress does. And I was saying, what I want every candidate to do is to say on a piece of paper,
Pledge.
I agree and will support the principles of the Republican platform, or I agree except for the following items, and itemize them. Then the people that are voting know what these people say they're standing for, and they can call them to account on it. I felt like that was a reasonable thing, but the Central Committee said, no, we're not even going to present that to the group. Furthermore, you're banned from submitting anymore.
Do they have the authority to do that?
Yeah, they run the convention. And I was kind of surprised that that was their feeling, that they didn't want to hold our candidates to account.
Who was the state chairman then?
I don't remember. That's been about 14 years ago, I believe. 14 years ago when that happened. And I was just really surprised. I shouldn't have been, maybe, because I know how politics work, and I don't like, if anybody calls me a politician, I think those are fighting words. I hope, if I can get back there and make a difference, and in my life today, whether I'm a candidate or not, I hope that I'm a statesman, which is someone that brings the truth to the people. That's my goal in this run. I know that my chances of winning are pretty small. There would have to be miracles involved. I have no money, I have no fame, I'm not that good looking, but I do believe that I know the truth, and I'm willing to speak it even when it's hard. So that's where I'm coming from. I hope that people will learn the principles of freedom and liberty that I understand and can talk about with people and help them to understand. And then, whether I win or not, hopefully they'll hold their representatives in Washington to account.
Are you a member of a political party?
I am. I've joined the Constitution Party. I've been with them for about 10, 12 years now. They stand for the principles of the Constitution. Some people, I think, have the impression that the Constitution Party just holds up a piece of paper and says, we're for this, and that's all we stand for. And in a way, I guess that's true, but it's not the piece of paper. It's the principles that paper reflect. The Founding Fathers understood the principles of liberty, and they used the Constitution to codify that in a way that would protect our freedoms and our liberties, so that we would be able to maintain those. They charged our government with one simple thing: to protect and defend those principles, to protect our liberty as people. When the president, when members of Congress, when law enforcement people take the oath of office, do you know what it is?
Support the Constitution.
Support and defend the Constitution of the United States. We don't take an oath to support, this is for the military too, we don't take a support to protect and defend the president or the Congress or even the nation. It's the Constitution and those principles that it embodies. And that's right. That's why they set it up that way in the beginning, is that they wanted us to understand that it's the principles that matter. It's not a party or a politician or a president even. It's the principles. That's what is worth defending.
There are several items that are coming up today. Immigration, for example.
Okay.
What would you do about immigration?
Immigration is a very thorny issue. I have a very detailed concept of that on my website. I guess we can share with people what the website is, but
what's the website?
It's www.MrShaunGoesToWashington.com. And anybody that's seen the Jimmy Stewart's movie,
Mr. Smith Goes to
Washington, will understand why I did that, because one man that got there under strange circumstances made a difference by standing up for principles. And that's he's my hero. Of course, I love Jim anyway. I thought he was a great actor, but the character he played in that movie spoke to me and made me think maybe I should be involved.
So what should we do about immigration?
Immigration, there's a number of things that come into play. The first thing is that we need to be a nation of law. We need to hold people to account on law. We need to control our borders. Every country in the world has the right to say, yes, you can come in, or no, you can't come in. And they, historically, our decision about that is, are you a good moral person? Can you support yourself here? And are you going to cause trouble, basically, you know? Other than that, our Statue of Liberty says, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses.
What would you do? What would be the mechanics or whatever, the procedures to solve the immigration problem?
Okay, the procedures are, we've got both of those things that seem like dichotomies. We need to say to those who, well, first, we need to control our borders, which we're not doing. We need to say, no, you don't get to come in unless we say so. For those that are already here, we have a mix of people that are here for good reasons. They're trying to save their family. They're trying to feed their family. And we have people that are here for bad purposes. Some have come across the borders that are terrorists. Some are criminals. We need to say to all of those people the following. We're going to give you 1 year to come forward and present yourself. Say, I'm here illegally, I want to make it right. Then we help them go through that process of coming. They go back home and come back with our help through the system, through the door the way they were supposed to come through. But we help them. We can do that. And bring them back into the fold. But if they don't, in that year, come forward, because that process causes them to go through a background check. We need to know if they're a criminal or not. We need to know if they've broken laws while they were here, other than just coming across the border. I'm in favor of letting them do that process right behind those that have already started to do it the right way. But if they're not willing to do that, and we catch them after that year of kind of a free time to make things right, then they are deported and they don't get to come back. And that's a little harsh, some people think. I have liberal friends that think I'm too conservative on this, and I have conservative friends that think I'm way too liberal on this, because I'm saying they should be able to come through as long as they come through the door the right way. I believe in repentance or making things right, or whatever term you want to put on it. I believe there's a way to do this in the right way for all of those involved.
What about energy?
Energy, I believe that we need to develop the new types of energy that are clean, but I also believe that we are ignoring a lot of types of energy in our country that have been dirty energy in the past but are not now if the new technologies are applied. Coal-fired plants is one of those.
How would you change that?
Again, we have to allow, the government does not allow new coal-fired plants now. And we need to have those as part of our plan. I think that we can have, if we are careful, nuclear-powered energy. It's a fairly clean technology as long as you don't place it on the seacoast where tsunamis can hit it, or on fault lines, which a number of our plants are on, which is kind of stupid. Place them in places that are stable ecologically and geographically or geologically. I think we can do that. I think that solar is a great promise for the future, but right now it's not as efficient as it needs to be. But there are a lot of people working on that. Wind power is worthwhile, it's helpful, but it's not going to meet our needs. There are new technologies on the horizon. There are chemical generators now, fuel cells they call them, use a chemical process to create energy. I've seen things that are in the works that could power a home from a single fuel cell for a number of years without major expense. It wouldn't be as expensive as what we're paying now, but that technology is still in development. I think there's a lot of things that we can do to make a better world with energy, but we have to open ourselves to new technologies, and I think we have to, in the gap between now and then, use some of the old technologies.
You mentioned coal-fired power plants. Mm-hmm. Could they be changed to be clean?
Yes. In fact, the technology exists now. I do disagree with a lot of people out there that are very concerned about carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide emissions, we talk about this carbon footprint. The government wants, some people in the government want to charge us for creating carbon dioxide. Well, what do the plants in this world eat as food? Soil, water, and carbon dioxide. They need that, and as we have more carbon dioxide, the plants grow better. We as people need oxygen. We need more plants creating oxygen, which is their exhaust, to feed us. So the world's a very dynamic and interesting place in that it is self-correcting to a great extent.
If this technology is available, why isn't it being applied to these coal-burning power plants?
I guess I could be called a conspiracy theorist on this. The people that have a lot of money want to keep making that money, and they do that with fossil fuels. I think that we need to gradually shift away from those for one reason, because we're going to run out. 10 years ago they said we will be out of fossil fuels by 2030. They have discovered all kinds of new resources now in this country as well as others. They're saying, well, probably it'll be another 100 years now we'll have fossil fuels. But someday, if we're going to plan for the future, that's not going to be a reality. It's not going to be there for us. And so we need to transition, but we don't have to do it in an emergency type situation. We don't have to be foolish about it.
What are some of the other things that you're concerned about?
One of the ones that I guess upsets my conservative friends, I don't consider myself a conservative or a liberal, but one of the ones that upsets some of my conservative friends is that I believe in decriminalizing drugs. I believe that we are spending way too much money incarcerating people that are not doing anybody else harm. Now, drug dealers, that's another issue, but if you decriminalize that and bring it under things like alcohol and tobacco are now, then the government makes money on it instead of spending money on it. There are some classes of things that we criminalize right now that I think should not even be regulated to a great extent by government. Anything that grows naturally in the world should not be controlled by the government. Just as an example, a lot of people have oleanders in their yard here locally. And oleander, if you eat it or even get your hands on it very much, can make you sick or even kill you. We haven't criminalized that. But marijuana, peyote, those kinds of things that grow naturally are a criminal offense to have in your possession. And I think that's silly. We're spending thousands per person every year, $30,000, $40,000 per year to feed and clothe and house them instead of letting them be productive in society.
Shaun, thanks for being with us. It's been a pleasure listening to you tell your story. We wish you luck.
Thank you for having me here today.
Well, it's our pleasure. We've been talking to Shaun McCausland, who's a candidate for 2nd District Congress. Thanks for being with us on A Story to Tell from the campus of Dixie State University.